Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Just My Stupid Opinion. I'm Adrian Lloyd. So, I was browsing around on social media today and I came across something. It turns out that in a new round of censorship, YouTube has now banned several channels off of their platform, many of who did not receive any community guideline strikes or copyright strikes, the normal process that you would go through in order to have your channel taken down. But many of them, including one channel that I watched, James Allsup, they ended up just having their accounts completely removed. And in the case of someone like James Allsup, he had almost 500,000 people subscribed to his channel. So these aren't small numbers that we're talking about. They're not the biggest channels in the world, but many of them were reporting. Several of them had well over 100,000. I think one had upwards of 200,000. James Allsup had nearly 500,000, and so it's just coming to the point where I've heard several people in the alternative media describe it as the Chinese social credit system that is being implemented on these social media platforms, and that seems to be exactly what ends up happening. There's supposed to be a standard that they uphold to, that you follow their rules, and then you don't have to worry about getting taken down. But it's when it started off, really ended up starting off with these big channels when they took down Alex Jones. They took him down without any real rhyme or reason, every single platform. And now they're starting to do it to smaller channels. They're getting rid of the voices that they don't end up liking. So, it's just, you can't deny that the days on YouTube for these sort of dissenting voices are numbered. They always have been, but now it's getting even worse. A lot of people were cheering when Alex Jones got taken down, but now it's happening to just about any big figure out there, and it's going to start coming for the smaller channels. In fact, it has hit a lot of the smaller channels. You just don't hear about them because they don't have the following. They don't have the platform in order to get that message out like some of these other people have. Nearly the same thing ended up happening with James Allsup that ended up happening with Alex Jones. In Jones's case, he was taken off every single platform except for Twitter, and then was eventually taken off of Twitter. But in the alternative case with James Allsup, he ended up getting removed from just about every other social media platform. I don't know, maybe a month ago or so, maybe a little bit less. He ended up releasing a video about that. He had his Twitter taken down. He had his Instagram taken down. I think he was on a couple other platforms as well. Those ended up getting taken down. And now finally, they came for his YouTube. And he's not the only one. As we kind of look through the article that was released on InfoWars talking about it, they were discussing James Allsup, and as he ended up releasing on Gab, he says, today YouTube decided to delete my channel without cause. I had no channel strikes, no violations, nothing, simply an email telling me that my livelihood, my means to exercise my political voice, my business I built for almost 3 years was taken away from me. So that's all he really got. But a few other channels that were also taken down was VDare Radio, and I'm not really familiar with most of these accounts, but there's VDare Radio, American Identity Movement, TRS Radio, the Right Stuff Radio, I believe it's called. So I'm slightly familiar with them, but I never really watched them. Michael Hoffman, I've heard the name in passing. And then there was also 2 British YouTubers taken down, Way of the World and Iconoclast. And let's see, Iconoclast had over 200,000 subscribers. So they're doing this. They're doing also the censorship that they're doing on social media right now with many of these channels, where they're doing everything they can in order to get these people to stop producing content. They're demonetizing them. They're not putting them in people's recommended videos. They're they're really making it so that they feel that they know what's right to listen to, and you have no say in it. It's the nanny state gone haywire. And what was interesting about this, maybe not that interesting, is that the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, they had released just a few weeks ago pretty much a hit list when it came to being on social media, specifically YouTube. as we got here, this is archived. It says, despite YouTube's policy update, anti-Semitic white supremacist channels still remain. And then it goes on to list a bunch of them. Just a whole bunch of them. E. Michael Jones, some have probably heard of. We got Michael Hoffman here, who was taken down, and several others. The list goes on for a while, but then these people that were taken down were on this list right here. Not all of them have been taken down, but you'll probably recognize some of them. You've got Red Elephants on here. You got Red Ice, the public space with JF Gariapi. We got the VDare. So there's a lot on there that on this list that ended up getting taken down. And in this case, they were talking about because it was anti-Semitism. Well, the ADL has always been that group that really has been their main fighting thing, is talking about anti-Semitism. In a lot of ways, though, it's like the ADL has really just been, they've been that group, the Anti-Defamation League, that has always been about protecting the Jewish people from any sort of criticism. This is exactly what they've done. Again, anti-Semitism is one of the main thing on their channel, but it really it's made up of a lot of Jewish people who are trying to defend other Jewish people from these sort of criticisms. This has been something that has been thrown back at the ADL for a long, long time. Now, up on Vincent James's website, the Red Elephants, he has a list of people who have been censored by YouTube in one way or another. So we got the demonetized here. There's No More News, Owen Benjamin, Mark Collette, Jesse Lee Peterson, Red Ice TV, Iconoclast, Dan Dix from Press for Truth, Revenge of the Cis, Steven Crowder, Jake Borfonius of Blackstone Intelligence Network. Those who have been actually, that's just to subscribe on. That's just to subscribe up on BitChute. But then even, like, if you remember, not that long ago, there was Black Pigeon Speaks, who was taken down as well. He was taken down for a day or two, and then eventually, after the outpour of his fans, they ended up re-uploading his channel. Reinstalling his channel is what I'm saying. You got Soph on here, who I'm not crazy about trying to listen to some little kid about politics, but at the same time, she shouldn't have had her channel taken away. And then full out deleted, you got Soph, American Renaissance, Ryan Dawson has been taken down? Huh. I did not realize that. Oh, videos but deleted by YouTube. That's what it is. Okay, that makes more sense. Count Dankula, Milo, Red Ice TV, Black Pigeon Speaks, Drunken Peasants, Press for Truth, JF, and then channels completely banned, Soph, Varg, Brother Nathaniel, just like all the ones that you can see here that have been completely taken down off YouTube or censored in one way or another. Now, this is no surprise because they've been working with algorithms that can take people down who are not putting up their what YouTube deems appropriate. And I find it funny what they deem appropriate, because they're taking down people that have the wrong political point of view, but then they're propping up, they've propped up in the past, they propped up pedophile channels, and they prop up the sexualization of children. They were plastering like people like Desmond is Amazing absolutely everywhere, and all of these trans kids absolutely everywhere. Of course, that seems to be all part of the plan. I mean, I have no doubt that, and I'm sure none of you do too, that it has to do with, it's one of the way you can subvert our civilizations, is that you hold up all the degeneracy and you take down anyone that is trying to, you take down anyone that is trying to oppose that sort of thing. But it's no surprise, because one of the groups that they've been working with right now is the Trust Project, and the Trust Project was started up a few years ago. I think it was back in 2014, but really over the last few years has gained a lot of traction when it comes to working with social media companies in order to censor them. This is exactly what they're trying to do. It says here, who we are, the Trust Project, a consortium of top news companies led by award-winning journalist Sally Lerman, not a surprise, is developing transparency standards that help you easily assess the quality and credibility of journalism. So that's what they're really saying. Although more than anything, it's because of the fact that a lot of these news agencies have been dying so badly to alternative media. They're now rigging the game in order for them to be propped up. I mean, there's Facebook who is now going to be combating fake news and putting up, telling you what is fake news and what isn't fake news. You have YouTube that is propping up the corporate media, putting channels such as CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, CBC, and all these other corporate news organizations. They're going to put those up first, so that's what you see. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I've been noticing that in my recommended feed on YouTube, I've been noticing that I'm starting to get videos up on here that I don't watch. I'm getting channels about stuff that I don't watch and topics that I don't watch. Most of my YouTube here is mostly dealing with news, politics, and a few other things that channels that I kind of enjoy. Like Revenge of the Sis is it's more of an entertainment channel more than anything else. So like things like that. But now I'm getting things for such as animal videos and little like life hacks, these sort of things that you get. I've even gotten a few times things like BuzzFeed news articles for some reason. And I've been noticing it on Twitter as well. There was recently on Twitter, there was something, maybe I can quickly find it. But I'm getting all these recommendations for people that I don't watch. Oh, I remember what it was. I got a few days ago, I was scrolling through my Twitter feed, and suddenly George Takei, his account popped up in my recommendations. Now, I don't follow anyone that follows George Takei. Nobody that I follow retweeted George Takei, but for some reason, I've got George Takei in my Twitter feed. So now it's like it's getting to the point where they are actively trying to change your opinion, and they're not even giving you the videos that you recommend, the stuff that you click the bell on, you subscribe to. That's not good enough. Now they're going to shove down your throat what you can and cannot watch. It's going to get, I swear, it's going to get to a point where they're just going to automatically start playing videos for you, regardless of whether you want to watch them or not. But going back to the Trust Project, it goes on. Our original launched partners include the DPA news agency, The Economist, the Rothschild, that's a Rothschild paper right there, the Globe and Mail, Hearst Television, the Independent Journal Review, Haymarket Media Institute for Nonprofit News, Italy's La Repubblica and La Stampa, Reach PLC, and the Washington Post. Search engines and social media companies are external partners. But these social media companies and search engines have been involved since the very beginning, because Sally Lerman was talking to these before she even started up the Trust Project. She was talking to Google, and she was talking to Facebook. She was talking to Facebook. She was talking to Google about what can be done to combat these people. And what the Trust Project does is they're supposed to go out and rate both. They're rating both news agencies or alternative media and also the stories that come out about how trustworthy that they are. This is literally a woman that's worked in the corporate media and it's sponsored by a bunch of people in different mainstream media companies, and they're going to tell you what is trustworthy when it comes to the news. Let's see, I think, no, that's mostly the same thing here. But as we'll see here, this is from the Mint Press, mintpressnews.com. The Trust Project, big media in Silicon Valley, weaponize algorithms, silence dissent. And this is exactly what ended up happening in this new wave of censorship that ended up happening. After the failure of NewsGuard, the news rating system backed by a cadre of prominent neoconservative personalities, to gain traction among American tech and social media companies, another organization has quietly stepped in to direct the news algorithms of tech giants such as Google, Facebook, and Microsoft. Though different from NewsGuard, this group, known as the Trust Project, has a similar goal of restoring trust in corporate mainstream media outlets relative to independent alternatives by applying trust indicators to social media news algorithms in a decidedly untransparent way. The funding of the Trust Project, coming largely from big tech companies like Google, government-connected tech oligarchies like Pierre Omidyar, and the Knight Foundation, a key NewsGuard investor, suggests that an ulterior motive in its tireless promotion of traditional mainstream media outlets is to limit the success of dissenting alternatives. Of particular importance is the fact that the Trust Project's trust indicators are already being used to control what news is promoted and suppressed by top search engines like Google and Bing and massive social media networks like Facebook. And remember, Google has gone in front of Congress under oath and said that they don't mess with their search engines. Whatever you find is what you find. But this is, you can even see it. People post side by sides about what you find on DuckDuckGo and what you find on Google. And now it's even admitting that they are affecting the search engines right now. You even put in something like Clinton body, and you won't come up with the Clinton body count. You do it on DuckDuckGo. It's the first thing that ends up popping up. People were noticing this after what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, after he ended up, quote unquote, committing suicide. People were starting, like, the hashtag Clinton body count was trending for a bit before it was conveniently replaced with Trump body count. And then people were starting to look into what is the Clinton body count. But when they would put in their search engine on Google, that's not what ends up coming up. Not at all. Well, let's try this. Clinton body shop. And then some of the other ones, there were a few more things such as this is what they're doing to try and manipulate the way that you interact, what you see and what you don't see. And of course, if you even look up the Clinton body count on Google, the first thing they come up with is how it's all a conspiracy. It's all a conspiracy. How about you give me a list of all the people that have conveniently died who worked for the Clintons or had dirt on the Clintons that just so happens end up dead in weird circumstances or even suicide. People that have 2 gunshot wounds to the back of the head and it's deemed a suicide. But anyway, moving on. Though the description of these trust indicators, 8 of which are currently in use, are publicly available, the way they are being used by major tech and social media companies is not. The Trust Project's director, Sally Lerman, made it clear that, in her view, the lack of public trust in mainstream media and its declining readership is the result of unwanted competition by principle-free enterprises that further undermines its journalism's very role and purpose as an engine for democracy. What a load of crap that is. See, they're just trying to prop up the propaganda machine that's out there. They're trying to make sure that no dissenting voices are ever heard of again. We're really at a point where all of these different dystopian future novels and stories are starting to coalesce right in the middle. Fahrenheit, what was it? I'll admit I haven't read that one. What is it? Fahrenheit, I butchered that. Fahrenheit 451, Brave New World, 1984. All of these different ones that covered a different sort of thing, a different type of future, are all coalescing in the middle. You have the book burning of Fahrenheit 451. You have the massive government and censorship of Big Brother from 1984. You have they're filling you up with drugs to make you feel good and forget about your life, like you have in Brave New World. And I'm really seriously waiting to the point where you no longer have a say in who your sexual partners are, because it seems like we're going down that way. Especially with something when you look at what happened with, Jessica Yaniv or whatever the trans piece of shit is in the BC Human Rights Tribunal. Wax my balls, bigot. We went from bake the cake. This is a meme. I'm taking this from a meme, absolutely, but it's so true. We went from bake the cake bigot to wax my ball bigot in a short amount of time, and I have no doubt it's going to be suck my dick bigot in no time. Give it a few years. You already are seeing it on social media, people pushing for this sort of thing, where they're talking about how straight people are not having sex with trans women, and that's a problem. You need to change what who your sexual preferences are, you bigot. So you just wait. That's exactly what's around the corner right now. But there was a time when you could say absolutely whatever you want on social media, but now it's all being subverted. It's all being centralized, and we're being forced by these small groups to say what they want, watch what they want, read what they want. And they're trying to prop up this idea like the media is some sort of, how'd they put it? An engine for democracy. Yeah, well, it's pretty much been proven that in the States, the friggin' the corporate media, most of them take their talking points from the DNC, the Democratic National Committee. There have been times where they've told the journalists that they want them to, you're going to talk about healthcare. And then all throughout the day, they're talking about healthcare and pharmacare and Medicare for all. And the same thing friggin' happens here in Canada. You cannot tell me with some of these articles that come out of the CBC that they are not taking their talking points from the Liberal Party. Don't forget, when this whole thing was going down, the SNC-Lavalin thing was going down at the beginning of the year, we found out that Katie Telford, who is a close advisor to Justin Trudeau, pretty much was saying that they would line up all these journalists for op-eds for Jody Wilson-Raybould if they wanted to. So this is all what it's about. It's not just about taking off the dissenting voices, but it's about propping up the propaganda machines that are no longer doing it for people. People aren't believing the mainstream media anymore, and they have to take away their competition. And then you also have at the same time groups like the ADL and the Southern Poverty Law Center that are trying to defend any sort of criticism of Jewish people. And there are criticism out there of Jewish people and Zionists. Don't get me wrong. Absolutely. I mean, you can't lie that a lot of the censorship are coming from Jewish people right now, or a lot of the anti-white rhetoric that's out there are coming from people who are Jews. So this is exactly what it's a combination of a few different reasons why these people ended up getting taken down, but it's all leading to the same future regardless. You don't get to criticize the people that we say you can't criticize. You don't get to have an alternate opinion than anybody else. You don't get to have an alternate opinion than what we say. This is exactly the use of words such as sexism, racism, transphobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism. It's all the same. It's to make everybody stop any of their criticism. It's to make sure that they follow exactly the status quo. Don't rock the boat. You're a good little slave. Now, you're a good little debt slave. Now go to work, shut your mouth, and just let us do what we want to do. So I don't know about the others, but you can find James Allsup on BitChute. I'm sure many of the other ones you can as well. But he's probably up on different platforms. Maybe he's up on like DLive or something like that, or DTube. But at least looking at his BitChute numbers, he's gone from nearly 500,000 subscribers down to 3,606 subscribers. Well, 3,607 subscribers now. I really am not on BitChute much, except for maybe just to make sure that a couple of my videos get uploaded, since I do it there too. But yeah, you know what? That's all I really have to say right now. I would say go subscribe to James Allsup. Go subscribe to these other ones as well, because at least when it comes to James Allsup, I can't speak for the other ones. I really enjoyed his content. I enjoyed his point of view on many of the issues that he decided to discuss. So it's coming for the rest of us. It's coming for everybody else. When you take down the giants, then the little guys have no chance. But the thing is, too, is one more thing, is that it really makes me question a lot of the big channels that are still around that have quote-unquote dissenting voices. Someone like, Louder with Crowder makes me really suspicious about these ones, because someone like Crowder has whined about censorship and shadow banning, how they're working against them. Yet he's taken a tour of YouTube. His channels are always up. They never really get hit for anything. The one time that he actually did get hit and he was whining about it was when he was streaming, I think it was the Oscars. And really, it seems like the reason that they took him down for that was the fact that they wanted everyone watching the Oscars and not watching alternative channels. That this happens a lot, actually. Whenever these award shows go on, they'll strike anybody that tries to stream it, so that way they don't get to... that way they get all the views and not these other channels as well. But then it makes me suspicious for these dissenting views that are still up there who still get to discuss these sort of things. But that's for another day. Anyway, I hope you all have a good rest of your day. I'm Adrian Lloyd. This is just my stupid opinion.